People of Reddit who have been prosecuted for illegally downloading movies. What happened? My cousin downloaded some songs on a friend's computer and they received a complaint. They freaked out, refused to contest anything, and he wound up having to pay like $80 a song for a 12-song album. That's $960 for all you simple folk. My mom, age 81, got a cease and desist from her internet provider, who is also her cable provider, because of illegal downloading. She called them about it, and they said it's because we were watching Game of Thrones on HBO Go and she doesn't have HBO. She explained that it was our HBO Go account, but they said it was a TUS violation and threatened to cancel her internet. She won't take my advice and tell them to get fricked, so it looks like she won't be watching Game of Thrones anymore. Change providers ASAP. I remember downloading the entire Star Trek TV series. I thought to myself, if there was ever a time I am going to get a letter from my ISP, this is it. Sure enough, about 10 days later, a letter from my ISP is on my doormat. Naturally, I worry as I open it, only to read to the effect of, "We've noticed a lot of bandwidth usage on your connection lately, and to get the best speeds we advise you download out of prime time hours, around 2200 hours onward." Laughed so hard. They just want to make sure you can pirate peacefully and conveniently. I used to have this thing called a M3 Lite, which is similar to a R4 for a Nintendo DS, where you download ROMs to play any game you want. I downloaded so many games for about a year, and then one day I got a letter in the mail. It stated something about catching me download Cooking Mama and Nintendogs, and they would sue me if I continued to do this. I got super afraid because my stepmom was the one to see the letter and scolded me. I honestly laughed a little, thinking that those were the games I got caught on, thinking they were silly. But I chose not to download anymore and nothing happened. I still have my DS with those games I already had though, including Cooking Mama and Nintendogs. My favorite cooking is to do the cup of noodle. I could have sworn you were going to say cooking the dogs. My roommate's internet is billed in my name, so I get all the notices. It's kind of hilarious, honestly. Whenever one of them forgets to try even a little bit to be sneaky, my ISP notifies me of whatever they've binge watched. Got a letter the other day telling me I downloaded 3 seasons of Degrassi. I live in Canada, so they basically just send me an email with a threatening attachment. Out in Jamaica, ISPs don't really care about our downloading habits, no repercussions really, so I guess you could call me a pirate of the Caribbean. Be right back. Moving to Jamaica. Wow, I can actually comment on this. Was informed by my ISP that I had copies of movies that I didn't have, and that I needed to delete them immediately. I had an unprotected Wi-Fi at the time. My mistake. I was then contacted by a law firm from California saying I was a defendant in a class action suit and I could settle the claim for $XXXX or go to court, where I would surely lose. Contacted a friend of mine finishing his law degree and had him contact said law firm. They were your typical copyright trolls that have been written about, prosecuted, and most recently jailed for their actions. After speaking with my friend, they dropped all contact with me and I never heard another thing about it. TL. Dr. Copyright trolls. Hide your kids, hide your Wi-Fi. An ex-GF of mine got caught for downloading some music and was threatened with jail time if she didn't pay. I think it was $3,500, which she was from a rich family, so she did. It was before we dated, so I can't say for sure it was a scam, but it sounded super fishy. Apparently they did list specific titles which she downloaded in the letter though. Regardless, she never heard another peep about it, and as far as I know hasn't pirated anything since. I'm gonna go ahead and say she got scammed pretty hard. I got a letter in the mail when the Dallas Buyers Club Bulls was going on. Nothing ever happened. That day I changed my provider and got a VPN. While I was never prosecuted, we did receive a cease and desist letter from Warner Brothers. This was probably in 2012 or so. We used to download movies via Vooz, but a buddy told us to try torrents from Pirate Bay, so we used it to download Inception. We really disliked using it, but I forget why. Anyways, fast forward a few weeks, months, and we received a letter in the mail from our service provider. Sure, Canadian. Warner Bros had our IP address, which legally belongs to our service provider, and quoted the date. time and movie title. Along with that letter, Shaw sent us their own letter which basically said we aren't passing on your personal information this time as we are sure you made a mistake and it won't happen again. It's good to be Canadian. A bunch of my friends got a letter from a lawyer saying they had been caught downloading and needed to pay a settlement of about $400 or they would go to court. The thing is that in my country the IP address isn't enough in court. They have to prove who was sitting behind the screen downloading the movie. They can't do that, so they were basically just fishing and hoping someone would get scared and pay. That's called a scam, not a legal proceeding. I've been downloading content with no safeguards, no VPNs, just my straight internet access for the last 15 years. Within the last 2 years, I finally got a total of 3 piracy notifications, all from DSL provider Verizon. Had to watch a short, less than 10-minute video that I downloaded about how piracy is bad. I am still going at it with no more problems. EPB, my provider, the fastest in the USA, advised me to get a VPN to avoid prosecution. They also gave me a list of good ones. Nice guys, EPB. I wouldn't download movies, TV shows if they actually made them widely available in Australia. Like seriously, The Expanse isn't even watchable here. Best show in ages. It's on Netflix now, but totally agree. All the shows and new seasons of stuff either don't show here, show 2 years late, or are on pay TV which is through the nose for even a basic connection. I currently have about 15 notices from Xfinity about me torrenting. At the 5th one they said when I get 6 they shut down my service. I was actually scared at the time and thought okay, no more torrenting stuff unless I am positive about it. I completely forgot about the notices and checked it like 5 months later and I had like 10 more I never opened. TLDR. They didn't do a dang thing. Not prosecuted, but this seems as good a place as ever to tell this story. While I was home for break from college, my parents started getting copyright strikes from Comcast and told my brother and I to stop torrenting. Okay, fine. I would just torrent at school. A while later I was using my parents' Comcast account for something, and I saw that you could check your copyright strike history, where it would list the titles of what you got caught downloading. We had a few strikes, and it was mostly movies and music, and one porno I downloaded. Weird porno, too. My parents never brought it up, but I know they saw it, and that they've probably had to wonder which of their sons is into such weird crap. I tried to torrent Hot Rod when I was living on campus. I got a CC mail from Universal saying it was illegal. Continued with the download, watched Hot Rod and had a great time. I always expected South Park or similar to do an episode where everyone in the world got sued by the recording industry, who then became financial overlords of Earth. They did do a similar episode. It was about illegally downloading music. I don't remember much, but it more so made fun of the celebrities. A cop showed the kids the costs of their actions. Like Britney Spears could only buy a private jet that only had 1 shower instead of 2 or something along those lines, lol. 50 plus TB downloaded. 200 plus TB uploaded. No issues at all. Use a freaking VPN or Seedbox and you have nothing to worry about. Literally nothing has ever happened to me. When I was but a young whip, I downloaded LimeWire Pro with LimeWire. Felt I beat the system. Did as well. All of us middle schoolers thought we were hot crap for doing it too. Got a letter. Here in Australia. It was 10 years ago. I sent it straight back to them with some smart ass comment daring them to do something. Nothing happened. Well, you might want to actually ask for a specific country. Each one is different. I have been prosecuted 3 times. Once for downloading a movie, but I was actually prosecuted for a piece of music in the actual movie. That cost me around €100 when their original asking price was about €900. A second time I got prosecuted for a game. The original asking price was €600. I got myself a lawyer. Denied their claim, didn't hear from them for 2 years, then shortly before the deadline for it to be thrown out I heard back from them. Now it was up to €900. Again, lawyered up and denied their claim. Has been 5 months now, still haven't heard anything back from them. The newest claim is for an episode of The Big Bang Theory. It just arrived today and they want €500 for it. Going to my lawyer on Monday first thing. Mind you, this is in Germany and there are several lawyers who exclusively deal with representing those companies, often for specific TV shows and films, usually getting those that have the highest frequency on torrent sites. I personally didn't even realize downloading a TV show that is on public TV in Germany was illegal. I tried illegally downloading DLC for Mass Effect 2 on Xbox 360. It may have been B8. The torrent didn't even work, but I got a letter from EA saying if I ever did it again they'd send the FBI. Even had the FBI symbol on the letter. I was around 14 so I was super freaked out, but it didn't stop me. Hahaha, first off, if they really cared they would have contacted Microsoft and had your account banned. Secondly, the FBI do not give a crap about people downloading stuff on the internet. If they do, they certainly don't care enough to send fricking agents to them. I got a notice when trying to get online that my service was interrupted and a number to call. I called them and played stupid and actually convinced the guy to teach me how to set up a password for a Wi-Fi router. Never had another issue, but I don't download anymore since I got one of those sweet Fire Sticks. You can get away with a lot just by playing dumb and then asking for explanation assistance. Never prosecuted, but my ISP shut me off for torrenting P. I had to call them to get it turned back on. It was funny because he had to say the title of the video out loud and I played dumb. HAB, now I torrent with a VPN and haven't been restricted in years. Not a movie, but I did get caught with an illegal version of Adobe Photoshop. It was some Watchdog group and they sent a cease and desist style letter to my parents' ISP. I had to take screenshots of it being removed. They threatened our ISP to cut off our internet. I had to click a link and leave a digital signature that it was removed, and the lady on the phone told my mom I needed a good spanking. I was probably 14 or 15 at the time. Okay, lady. Could have used Photoshop to make fake images of you uninstalling it and getting spanked, and kept PS. Got a letter once that Sony had complained to my ISP, so I called them up and said, it must be the dang neighbor kids. The tech asked me if I had a lock on my router and I told him I did not. He said I needed to do that and he would throw out the complaint. So I placed a padlock on top of my router, took a picture and emailed it to him and said, gosh, I hope this helps. Never heard back. 2 years later I get another letter from NBC for downloading Olympic events. I called my ISP. Again playing stupid, I told them the commercials on NBC say to watch on the internet. The guy says, I think they mean on their site. I play stupid and say, then you should sue this Mr. Google guy. I clicked a link on his site to download it. Guy starts laughing and says, my bad, we will pursue him at this point. Playing stupid works. Only a tiny percentage of people getting threats are actually prosecuted. I actually stopped piracy completely after using a VPN on Netflix. Then Netflix decided to block all VPNs, and so I cancelled my Netflix and HBO accounts and started pirating everything again. If the industry was willing to give me reasonable access to content at a reasonable price, I'd be more than willing to give up piracy forever. However, they seem intent to try and milk consumers for every penny, rather than be reasonable, and so I will continue to ignore their monopolistic ideals and obsession with greed and control. You can't go to jail for downloading. Unless you seed the movie, then yeah, your ISP might tell you to stop it. Thing is, when you torrent, you are seeding as you download if I'm correct. It's not the act of downloading, it's the act of distribution. Torrented constantly at a religious school, then torrented a single P video, and they instantly emailed and ratted me out to everyone in my dorm and my bishop, who then ostracized me. Threatened to kick me out of school unless I went to bulls meetings with various people about overcoming this obstacle. Frick bio. A client of mine got busted but only had the issue because he was burning and reselling. Got 8 months of jail time. Weekends only. Sent a letter to my workplace that my boss read aloud at roll call. Had to find out in public that my wife downloaded the Twilight series. They'll never let it go. Pretty sure you should contact a lawyer. ISPs have no right sending that kind of info to anyone other than the person it is intended for. My sister received a legal warning threatening to be fined $5,000 for every downloaded movie. I don't know where it went beyond that. I think she just had to stop downloading content from whatever source and hope not to get caught again. Sounds like a scam to me. Got an email from Cox saying I downloaded an illegal movie. Had a lawyer call me and everything. Told him to go frick himself. Never heard of it since. It ended up being a roommate of mine who downloaded the movie. The movie was Alien Butt Party 3. Whether I have or haven't, South Africa frankly doesn't care. People sell bootleg DVDs in the open in the town I live in. And it doesn't matter if I do cause I'm hooked up to my neighbor's Wi-Fi. I once downloaded the original StarCraft through a torrent site. I had my own CD key but my CD was too scratched up to load it onto my new computer, so I downloaded it. My internet shut off after around 2 days. I called my ISP and explained my situation. The rep said, "Oh, you have your own CD key? Okay, well I'll turn your internet back on then." That game is really old anyways. I made sure the torrent wasn't seeding anymore and continued to play. My internet shut off again the next day and I called my ISP again. This time it was a different rep and she said that I must delete that game before they will turn on my internet again, and this is now my second strike, and if there is a third one we will be permanently banned from using their service. I'm not sure how they knew I still had the game, but I just deleted the game to get my service turned back on and ended up buying another copy of the game. I downloaded a movie I have a scratched up DVD of. I also streamed The Walking Dead from pirate sites instead of AMC, even though I have AMC, because logging in was too much of a bee on their website. I'm a passive aggressive rebel. When the law comes for me, I will provide all necessary documentation and receipts and apologize for wasting their time. I once was drunk and watching a downloaded season of Vikings. When I finished, I googled the History Channel address and sent them like $40 worth of coupons from our coupon drawer and a letter I wrote explaining everything because I thought they deserved the money and I really enjoyed the show. My drunk mind thought it was a great idea. I never did hear back from them. For all you torrenters out there, get a Raspberry Pi. Put a torrenting program on it that can be accessed via a web browser. Transmission is easy to do. Put a paid VPN service directly on the Pi. When torrents finish, copy them off the Pi. You now have a cheap 24/7 torrent machine that won't get you nasty notes from your ISP. Bonus: if you set it up right, you can access the machine remotely or to automatically download torrents even when you're not home. Having a specific device also means you don't have to leave your regular computer running if you have a slow connection or a slow torrent stream. If you have the money and skills, the next level up is to get a seed box. My friend got hit by Disney and slapped with a $1,000 fine. I forget the exact dates, but it was for The Lion King and he settled. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.